Salamat po.
Salamat po.
Okay. Okay now, magandang umaga people. Magandang umaga kababayan. Sabi mo, magandang umaga mga kabayan. Sabihin mo dali, magandang umaga mga kabayan. Say it, magandang
Magandang
umaga
umaga,
mga
mga
kababayan.
kababayan.
Kumusta po kayo?
Kamusta po kayo?
Okay, ayan. So, ngayon, andito na naman kaming magnanay. Magbabasa kami ng Genesis 38, verse 1 hanggang 39 verse 23. Ayan. Okay, Genesis chapter 38 hanggang Genesis chapter 39 verse 23. Ayan, tatapusin natin yung dalawang chapter. Ayan, kasi may bata akong kasama. So, pag may bata kang kasama na nagbabasa, maiinip sila pag masyadong matagal. Kaya, mas mabuting iksian lang natin. So, para hindi sila mainip. Kung kaya ng mga bata ninyo na makabasa ng more than 2 chapter a day or a night, kasi maganda ang Biblia, ang kanilang bedtime story. O, 'di ba? Merong mga kailangan lang na halimbawa medyo morbid na yung nangyayari, laktawan mo na lang muna, iba na lang yung yung chapter 34, hindi ko masyadong binasa yun sa kanya kasi hindi pa niya masyadong yun. May mga tanong siya doon na hindi masasagot ko man, pero alam niyo yun. Pero sa awa naman ng Diyos, hindi siya nagtatanong. Pero yun, yung binasa namin yun, hindi ko na binidyohan yun. At saka yun nga, kung kaya ng anak ninyo na magtiis ng more than 2 chapter ng pagbabasa ng Biblia a day or a night, gawin ninyo. Pero kung kaya lang 1 chapter, at least meron, gawin nyo rin. Ganon. So, kailangan nating turuan ng ating mga anak sa panahon ngayon kasi mahirap na ang mundong magturo sa kanila ng tungkol sa Panginoon. So, bilang nanay, tayo ang ilaw ng tahanan, tayo dapat ang magturo ng tama sa mga anak natin. Kasi sino ang magtuturo kung hindi tayo? Tayo ang unang teacher ng ating mga anak. Ayan. So, keep doing it for the glory of God. Okay? Alright then. And it came to pass, this is Judah begets Onan and Shelah. Genesis 38 verse 1. And it came to pass at the time that Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a certain Adullamite whose name was Hira. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua, and he took her and went in unto her. And she conceived and bare a son, and he called his name And she conceived again and bare a son, and she called his name Onan. And she yet again conceived and bare a son, and called his name Shelah. And he was at Chiseb when she bare him. And Judah took a wife for his firstborn, whose name was Tamar. And Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord slew him. And Judah said unto Onan, Go in unto thy brother's wife, and marry her, and raise up seed to thy brother. And Onan knew that the seed should not be his. And it came to pass, when he went in unto his brother's wife, that he spilled it on the ground, and lest that he should give seed to his brother. And the thing which he did displeased the Lord, wherefore he slew him also. Then said Judah to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, remain a widow at thy father's house, till Shelah my son be grown. For he said, lest peradventure he die also, as his brethren did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. And in process of time, the daughter of Shua, Judah's wife, died. And Judah was comforted and went up unto his sheep shearers to Timnath. And he and his friend Hira the Adullamite And it was told Tamar, saying, Behold, thy father-in-law goeth up to Timnath to shear his sheep. And she put her widow's garment off from her, and covered her with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat in an open place, which is by the way to Timnath. For she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not giving unto him to wife. When Judah saw her, he thought her to be an harlot, because she had covered her face. And he turned unto her by the way, and said, Go to, I pray thee, let me come in unto thee, for he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, What wilt thou give me that thou mayest come in unto me? And he said, I will send thee a kid from the flock. And she said, Wilt thou give me a pledge till thou send it? And he said, What pledge shall I give thee? And she said, Thy signet, and thy bracelet, and thy staff that is in thine hand. And he gave it her, and came in unto her, and she conceived by him. And she arose and went away, and laid by her veil from her, and put on the garments of her widowhood. And Judah sent the kid by the hand of his friend the Adullamite to receive his pledge from the woman's hand, but he found her not. Then he asked the men of that place, saying, Where is the harlot that was openly by the wayside? And they said, There was no harlot in this place. And he returned to Judah and said, I cannot find her. And also the men of the place said that there was no harlot in this place. And Judah said, Let her take it to her, lest be shamed. Behold, I sent this kid, and thou hast not found her. And he came to pass 3 months after that it was told, saying, Tamar thy daughter-in-law hath played the harlot, and also behold, she is with child by a whoredom. And Judah said, Bring her forth, and let her be burnt. When she was brought forth, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, By the man whose these are am I with child? And she said, Discern, I pray thee, whose are these? The signets and bracelet and stuff. And Judah acknowledged them, and said, She had been more righteous than I, because that I gave her not to Shelah my son, and he knew her again no more. And it came to pass in the time of her travail, that, behold, twins were in her womb. And it came to pass, when she travailed, that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took and bound upon his hand and scarlet thread, saying, This came out first. And it came to pass, as he drew back his hand, that, behold, his brother came out. And she said, How hast thou broken forth? This breach be upon thee. Therefore his name was called Pares. And afterward came out his brother that had the scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zara. Joseph is promoted in Potiphar's house. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him off the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master the Egyptian. So Joseph promoted in Potiphar's house. And Joseph was brought down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down thither. And the Lord was with Joseph, and he was a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master the Egyptian. And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and the Lord made all that he did to prosper in his hand. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house, and all that he had he put into his hand. And it came to pass from the time that he had made him overseer in his house, and over all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian house for Joseph's sake. And the blessing of the Lord was upon all that he had in the house and in the field, And he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he knew not aught he had, save the bread which he did eat. And Joseph was goodly person and well favored. Joseph resisted the temptation of Potiphar's wife. And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph, and she said, Lie with me. But he refused and said unto his master's wife, Behold, my master wouldn't not what is with me in the house, and he had committed all that he had to my hand. There is none greater in his house than I, neither that he kept back anything from me but thee, because thou art his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? And it came to pass, as she spake to Joseph day by day, that he hearkened not unto her to lie by her or to be with her. And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the men of the house there within. And she caught him by his garment, saying, Lie with me. And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got him out. Joseph falsely accused. So, I'm going to finish this verse 39. And it came to pass when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and was fled forth, that she called unto the men of her house and spake unto them, saying, See, he had brought in. Okay. So, we're going to continue. And she spake unto him. And it came to pass when he heard that, lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled and got him out. And she laid up his garment by her until his Lord came home. And she spake unto him according to this word, saying, The Hebrew servant, which thou hast brought unto us, came in unto me to mock me. And it came to pass, as he lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled out. Joseph in prison. And it came to pass, when his master heard the words of his wife, which she spake unto him, saying, After this manner did thy servant to me, that his wrath was kindled. And Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were bound. And he was there in the prison